Hello everyone and welcome to the Mylio Photos coffee break. My name is Angela Andrew. I'm a product evangelist for Mylio and I am here today to help you get to know Mylio Photos and to be successful. I'm also joined today by Lori Rubin, and for a brief moment there you probably saw the tail of my cat. He wanted to make a brief appearance. So hope everyone's having a great Friday. And today we're going to be talking about customization tips and tricks for Mylio Photos. After we go through a short presentation, we'll have some time for open Q&A. Questions don't have to be just about the presentation. You can ask me anything about photography, Mylio Photos, family history, anything that you have questions about. So with that, I want to go ahead and get started. We're going to first talk a little bit about some of our upcoming events. We've got some great stuff planned for you guys. If you're new to Mylio Photos, or perhaps you stepped away for a while and are getting reacquainted, make sure you join Lori's Ready, Set, Go program. It's an awesome thing for new users to get reacquainted. It goes over 5 days. You can repeat it as many times as you want. There's short sessions, and there's a morning and afternoon option. If you can't attend live, there are also self-paced options, and I highly recommend checking that out. We also have live Q&A sessions every Tuesday and Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific. Those are generally with me. Once in a while, we bring in a guest from our team to go ahead and help out with those. And then every Friday, we have these coffee breaks, which are short tutorials followed by more Q&A. Next week, we're going to be talking about mastering the date adjustments in Mylio Photos. So hopefully you'll join me for that as well. Let's go ahead and jump into today's topic, which is customization tips and tricks. This is something we get a lot of questions about, and I just want to kind of point out some of the things in Mylio that you might not be aware of. So let's go ahead and dive right in and get started. So here we go. First, we're going to talk about cover photos. This is one of those kind of simple things, and you might have already discovered this in Mylio, but you can, in a bunch of different areas, create a custom cover photo so your library looks the way you want it to look. You can set your own custom covers for folders, albums, events, and people. And it's very, very simple. So let me jump into Mylio here, and I'm going to go into a folder here, and I want to pick a new picture to be on my top level photos folder here. This is kind of my main repository for all my professional images. I'm going to go ahead and open that up and go into a recent photo. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in here, and I want to pick one from a recent Milky Way photo shoot. So I'm going to find one of these images here. Actually, even better way to do this, I'm going to go ahead and open up my quick filters and find the ones that I've added a pick flag to, because I know these are some of my favorites. So there's a really cool one right here. I want to make this the representative picture for my entire repository of images. Now you can pick any picture in your library to represent just about anything. It doesn't even have to be in that folder or that album. Typically you want it to be because it's representing that group of images, and that's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to go here and just right click on this image, and down here we see set cover. I can choose to set that for a folder, an album, or an event. If you are on a touchscreen device or a mobile device, you're going to click that actions menu down here in the bottom right. It's the same contextual menu, and you have those same options. So for here, let's go ahead and just right click, and I'm going to choose to set this on a folder. Now it's going to pop up and let me choose initially just the folder that I'm in, which is the one for August 3rd. But I want to take this back to the top level, so I can click this back arrow and go back all the way to my top level folder here, and then I can navigate to any folder in my library to assign this picture to. I'm going to go ahead and choose that photos folder and say set. And now when I go back to the top level of my folders view, that picture is now representative of this group of images. So you can do that with your folders. You can do that with albums. Let's go here and do that with an album really quick. Let's say I want to go here into my quick shares, and I want to choose a different image here. So let's go ahead and pick, let's just pick another one here out of this grouping and choose this image here. I'm going to right click on that again. And in this case, instead of choosing folder, I'm going to choose album. And right now I can make that the representative image, the cover photo for this particular album or the overall quick share. So I can say set. And again, now if I go back to the top level of my quick shares, that picture is now the cover photo. Very, very quick and easy to do. I also mentioned that you can set cover photos for events. You may or may not be using events in your calendar. You don't have to, but it's a fun, different way to group things together. And I'm going to go here to my calendar, and here we have again this Milky Way shoot that I did. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that and open up my info panel here. Now over here on the right, here is the cover section for that. I can also right click on one of these images. Let's go ahead and grab this one, right click on this and say set cover for event. And I can set that as the cover for this particular series. I can say set. And now if I go down here, selecting just the album, I now have that set as the cover photo for this event. You can also do this with people. Typically, you're going to want to have the person in that particular photo that you're using to represent them. So let me go here into my people view. And I'm going to go into, let's see here, who do I want to pick a cover photo for? Let's go here to the one of my great-grandfather. And I want to pick a new image to represent this particular grouping. So let's find a good picture here of him. I think, let's go with this one. This one looks pretty good. I'm going to right click on that. And you'll notice now that we're in people view, we also have the option here to set a cover for people. So I can go ahead and set that. And when I go back a level to this grouping, that is now the representative image for him. So you have a lot of different ways to customize the look and feel of all of these different areas in your library. So that is kind of an overview of custom cover photos. From there, let's go ahead and jump into photo prioritization. And this takes it a little bit further, and this is how you actually will organize and customize your life calendar. So you can't set a particular cover photo for a specific day. This is all done automatically under the hood in Mylio, but you can control how Mylio prioritizes things. So let me show you how to do that. I'm going to jump back over here into Mylio. Let's go ahead and go into our life calendar. And all of the pictures that you're seeing here are ones that Mylio picked. You have only minimal control over this, but you can control those prioritization settings. So I'm going to go here and click on my More menu in the upper right, go into Settings, and I believe it is under Organization. There it is, Photo Prioritization. And this lets you change how Mylio prioritizes things. Now, not only does it control the life calendar, it also controls any cover photos that you haven't custom assigned. So what we just did was custom assigning some cover photos, but before you do that, there's already going to be photos that Mylio picks to put in that cover position. If you don't choose to choose a custom photo, this is also controlling those cover photos. It also controls your local storage. So if you have Space Saver enabled, for instance, and Mylio can store as many optimized images as possible on that particular device, this prioritization is choosing which ones to keep that higher quality version of on that device for you. It also happens to influence how metadata is merged in photo dedupe. So you probably do want to go into this and take a look. The default settings are very good, but you might have something that is a little bit more important to you than something else, and you can adjust these. So event priority and cover for priority events is locked. You can't change those there, but you can go ahead, any of these that have the little dots here, you can click and drag these to change the priority. So for me, the most important images in my library are going to be anything I've marked with 5-star and anything I've marked with flags. Typically a 5-star is more important than a flag. And then you can go ahead and start plugging in your color labels if you want to use those. You can say ones that have tagged faces, maybe those are more important to you. Untagged faces, I'm going to say those are probably pretty low priority. We can go ahead and keep those down here. And I'm going to maybe say that's just below a 3-star. And you see you can kind of click and drag these to where they make the most sense for you. So obviously here at the bottom, things that are unflagged and rejected and unlabeled, those hang out here at the bottom. Whereas the things that we've taken the time to tag and rate and so forth, those are going to be up towards the top. But you can change those around to fit how you want things to be displayed. Once you do that, that's when you start going through your library and saying, okay, if I want my calendar to be populated with my 5-star images, let's go ahead and find some 5-star images for those particular days. And that's going to influence how your calendar looks and feels. So that's going to be a big part of it right there. So any questions before we move on photo prioritization? Not seeing anything in the chat. Nobody's got their hands up. All right, let's go ahead and move on. I'm going to go ahead and back out of this. Oh, looks like we have Harold. You have a question.
Yes. If you have Mylio running on a laptop and a desktop, and you have photo prioritization set on one, does it Is it the same on the other computer, or do you have to customize each?
As far as I know, it's a global setting, so you set it on one, it'll impact all of your devices.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good question. All right, so moving on from photo prioritization, that brings us to things like annotations and overlays. So again, this is another way you can kind of customize the look and feel of your library to show or hide additional information about your photos. We have some annotations that are in the grid view, and then we have some overlays that are in the single photo view. So let's first talk about annotations, and this is going to be primarily in the grid view. Now you're going to notice some different options when you're in different views, but this is going to be primarily what you can show and hide. So you can choose what little icons are showing on each of your images, and that gives you additional information about your photos. So let me jump here to my all photos here. And go ahead and scroll up here, find some photos to look at. And you'll notice that there's some little symbols here on many of these images. This one here means it has GPS information. This one here has GPS, and I gave it a pick flag. If I go ahead and scroll down toward the bottom of my library, we're going to have a lot of things that are fuzzy dated or undated. So I can go here and scroll down a little further here. If you ever see this little equivalency symbol, this means that something has a fuzzy date or a non-specific date. So it's not going to be your regular timestamp. It's going to be something more like a year or possibly even undated. So you'll see this one has a year, month, day, but it doesn't have the hours, minutes, seconds, which means it's a non-specific date. And that's why it has a little equivalency symbol. Now you can choose which of these you want to have overlaid on your photos, because if you have too many of them, it can start to make things look really cluttered. They can be very useful, but they can also kind of get in the way. Another one here that you might notice, this little pencil, this means it's been edited inside of Mylio Photos. Now Mylio doesn't know if you've edited in Photoshop or Luminar or some other program, but it does know when you've done edits here in Mylio, and that's what that little symbol means. So to control what you're seeing, you can go up here to the More menu, and under Annotation, go ahead and click on the text here, and this brings up a little window where you can choose which of these you want to view. And so you can make your view as cluttered or uncluttered as you want. I like to see my ratings, color labels, and flags. Titles, captions, and dates aren't as important to me because all I need to do is click on an image, see it in the info panel, I can get that information. The fuzzy date, like I said, is just that little equivalency sign. That's pretty clear. GPS, again, is just a little symbol up here, so that makes that pretty inconspicuous. And then show unsupported files, that just means that when something is unsupported that Mylio can still see, it's going to show up as that black box with the little squiggly line in it. I do like to see when something's not supported, but it is there. So that's a choice that I have turned on. Let's go ahead and see what title looks like, because this is one that a lot of people turn on and go, okay, I haven't added a title to these images, but what am I seeing? If you don't have a title specified, it puts the file name on there for you. So that's just a default setting. It can't be changed, but that's what happens when you go ahead and turn on title. It can be very helpful, but I find that to be a very cluttered look, so it's really up to you what information you need to see at any given time. So you can turn that off. Same with caption and date. So that goes ahead and puts that date right there on the frame. Again, I find that to be a little bit cluttered for my particular taste, so I keep that off. So those are your annotations, and they're very, very useful. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some of these quick action overlays. When you go into a single image, you have these icons here across the top. And those you can control and decide if you want to view them by going up here to the More menu and here to Quick Actions. Go ahead and click on that, and you can choose which ones you want to use. I find these to be very, very useful, especially Show in Folder and Show in Life Calendar. Show in Life Calendar will jump me exactly to that date when that photo was taken, so I can see all the pictures from that date regardless of what folder or device those things came from. If I want to find exactly what folder this picture is stored in, let's say I'm browsing through my all photos, or maybe I'm in People View and I want to see other pictures in that folder, I can jump to the folder. So I like to have both of those on. Photo Explorer has some other really cool tools in it, and if I go ahead and click on that, and there's nothing in there for this particular image, let me find a more modern image because that's going to give us a better view of that. Go ahead and jump up here, and let's go here to this one. This is a picture I took with my cell phone, so I know there's some other information in there. Just For those of you who are interested, this was a restaurant I went to last weekend, and I love the license plate here on the back of this Roadrunner. Pretty cool car, beautiful, beautiful restoration, but that's just a little side note. So if I click on my Photo Explorer here, I have the option to show location on the map. Because this has GPS coordinates, I can jump directly to the map on the web here, or I can jump to the map here in Mylio, and that's going to show me exactly where I took that photo. So that's a really neat way to navigate there. You also have the option, if there are people in this image, it's going to pop up with links to each of those people, and you can, if you've added phone numbers or email addresses or anything like that, you can quickly and easily send that picture to somebody in your library, and it's an amazing way to share and get your stuff out there. So those overlays, again, they're optional. They're on by default, but if you don't like them, you find them clutter, you can go ahead and turn them off here in Quick Actions. That's completely up to you. If you turn them off and you still want to have that functionality to get to any of these options, again, you can right click and you can say show in folder, life calendar, and map right there. So really lots of different ways to get around stuff in Mylio Photos. Let's take a look here if there are any other questions that have popped up. Tom says it would be cool if the icons were shown when selecting. That would be nice. I can go ahead and share that with our team for sure. And is there a manual of all the annotations? Absolutely, John. So if we go to the help menu here and go down to the how-to guide, that's going to pull up your browser. And there is actually a section in the manual here under glossary, tools, and terminology, menu, settings, and icons. All of those different icons are listed in here. So you can go ahead and do that. You can also, if you want to, search annotation, and that's going to pull up different places where it talks about those annotations. So hopefully that's helpful to you. All right, let's see here. What else have we got for you today? So that's annotations and overlays, changing the sort order. You have some basic sorting that you can do within Mylio Photos. You can sort by name, date created, and rating, and then you can choose ascending or descending. So let me go ahead and show you where that's at in the app. I'm going to go back here to my grid view, and I like to have my most recent pictures first, and I sort by the date, especially in all photos view. So if I go here to sort by and choose date created, there's my name, date created, and rating, and then I can choose ascending or descending. I like to have my most recent pictures first, so that's why I have it on descending, but you can choose what works best for you. And I do jump this around depending on what I'm trying to find, if changing that sort order is helpful. But it's always good to know that that's there if you need it. All right. And grid style, this is another fun one. So what you're seeing here is the traditional grid style, which comes by default. Let me go ahead and just close up these different things on the side, the different panels. If you go up here to your more menu, you may or may not have noticed this option, grid style. So right now I have it on fluid, which is my preference, but you also have the option to square, and you can also tile, which makes everything equal squares. So it's really up to you, again, what you like to see, how you want to interact with your pictures. I'm going to change that back to fluid because I like being able to see each picture kind of in its entirety. I don't mind that some are slightly bigger or smaller than the others, but again, it's what works best for you and what's easiest on your eyes. All right. The film strip, if you are browsing and you want to be able to see more pictures, I like having the film strip open sometimes, but every once in a while I find it to be cluttered and I just want to focus in on the picture that I'm looking at. If you want to hide it, you can go up here to the more menu. Here's the film strip. You can turn that off, and that goes ahead and just gives you a nice, clean way of browsing. And then you can still arrow back and forth between your pictures, no problem. So it's up to you whether you want to be able to see that film strip. All right, a few other customizations just to kind of go through here. We have things like show file name and title. That's when you're in single photo view. So let me go ahead and go back here and go into a single photo. Up here in the more menu, we have show file name and title. So you see up here at the top, I can turn that on and it's actually going to add that file name here at the top. That can be really useful. So for some people, you might want to have that on. For others, you might want to go ahead and turn that off. It's completely up to you. Let's see what else we have. We have the family history panel, which is on by default, but not everybody uses Mylio Photos for family history. So again, we want to make sure that Mylio is flexible and usable for you. So if you would like to use the traditional view of Mylio Photos, which has all of the same metadata fields, it's just organized differently, this is what that looks like. If you're working on family history, you can go ahead and go up here to the More menu, choose Family History. Not only does that turn on this family history view, you also have the option here to post memories to family search, and it just reorganizes all of the metadata fields that are related to family history in a slightly different way that might be more intuitive to you. So it's up to you which one you use. For most things, I keep family history off personally, but when I'm working on those projects, it's really nice to have there, and you can turn it on or off whenever you need it. Let's see here. Always show find. This is one that's fairly new. When I'm here in the grid mode, if you're looking for something specific, you may or may not know you can do a Command or Control F and pull up a find window. And this lets you type in a little search and find something here in the window. If you want to have that always on, I'm going to go ahead and switch to another view here and then come back. That's going to make it go away. If you want that always on, you can go up here to the More menu, and here's always show find. And that will keep that permanently there. Some people love having that available and they forget when it's hidden. If you're one of those people, go ahead and turn it on. It is very useful. The times I like it the most, honestly, are when I'm in people view and I want to find somebody specific. So let's say I want to find my mom. It goes ahead and jumps me right to her. So the find is very, very helpful, and you may or may not want that field on, but that's how you control that. Zoom to face. So again, we're here in the people view. Right now I have zoom to face on. So all of these pictures, when we're looking at them, they're zoomed in on a specific face. Now these photos are not zoomed in or cropped so tight. This is Mylio doing that for me. I can go up here to the More menu, and let me actually go out of that find real quick there. And now I can go into somebody's pictures here, and you can see again they're zoomed into the face. Go to the More, there's my zoom to face. I can turn that off, and then you can see all of the pictures in their full context. So again, it's up to you how you want to be able to browse those and see them, and different options are available in each particular view. Show and hide rejected photos. One of the things that I use a lot in Mylio Photos is the ability to do pick flags and reject flags. And when I go through and mark something as a reject, I'm going to go ahead and just filter and find some reject flags here for you so you can see that I have many that I need to clean up. You have the option to have these either in kind of the grayed out view that I have right now, or you can hide them. So I can go up here to say where it says show rejected photos, I can turn that off, and Mylio is going to automatically hide those from my library when I don't have them filtered the way that I do. Right now I'm going to go ahead and turn that back on just because I don't want them to appear to be deleted. So that's up to you if you want to show or hide any photos that you've marked as rejects. Map style. If you've spent any time in the map view, which is pretty fun, I'm going to go ahead and go here and let's just zoom back out. You have the option to choose some different maps, and hopefully in the future we're going to have some even improved map styles for you, but that's a little ways down the road. But if you go up to the More menu, here we have map style. You have standard, you can choose satellite, or you can choose that's satellite hybrid, or you could try use topographical. And I've been told that the topographical one is really nice if you're a hiker because you can zoom in and you kind of see the contours of different paths and things like that. It's just up to you which one you like to use. I actually kind of like the satellite hybrid. So that is your different map styles. And finally, just a quick mention of workflows and spaces, because again, these are ways that you can customize how you're viewing and working with your images. We have the workflows, which lets you choose between different goals that you have with Mylio. Let's say I want to switch to my photo sharing goal, and that's going to hide certain tools and certain functions, basically just making it easier for me to focus on a specific goal. Now I can always go out of that, go back here and go back to all tools. And again, that shows and hides certain things. You can also do similar things with spaces by assigning a specific space to a specific device, or when you're working and collaborating with somebody. Now these are much bigger topics we can get into and spend a lot of times just on workflows and spaces, but I did want to mention them as customization tools because you can work with them in different ways and it shows and hides different things in your Mylio. So with that, I think that is everything I wanted to cover for this customization tips and tricks. Are there any questions today? Let's go ahead and go here. John, you've got your hand up.
Unmute myself here. You jumped on that pretty quick, Angela. I have another account and another library system that I installed on a different device, and the device does not have a whole lot of storage. So I linked all of the files, right? They're on an external hard drive. And so on this new device, I had it set to thumbnails only.
Okay.
And so then as I'm browsing through all of these things, I noticed that as they are thumbnails, then they're pretty pixelated, right? And I think,
yes,
right? So, and I understand the purpose of the thumbnails is so that it speeds up the browsing and so on and so forth, which is great, which is what I want. But should I change that to optimized images?
it's really up to you. I mean, you could change it to Space Saver, and that's still a pretty efficient way to work. And that'll let Mylio put as many optimized images as there are space available on that device. And it just gives you a better browsing experience because the pictures that you're into most often, again, for that photo prioritization that we talked about earlier, things that Mylio sees that you are into and look at a lot, it's going to bring those optimized images over there so that they load a better version for you. If you have it set to catalog only, it's going to have those thumbnails. If you go ahead and click on something to view it bigger, if you have your vault connected or the drive where those originals are stored connected, it will go ahead and pull in that optimized version and let you view that, and it'll hold it temporarily. It just takes usually a couple of seconds for that to load.
Okay. All right.
All right.
And there are some videos in that library, so the videos aren't compressed or optimized, right?
No.
If I click on that, it'll just play it.
Right. You might have to it'll have to pull it in temporarily.
Got it.
As full version, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, let's see what else we've got here. So we've got from Michael, for MP4 video files, where would you recommend tagging people for searching, maybe keyword or other suggestions? I'm sure you could use keywords, but what I usually do, let me go here into my Mylio, and let's just pull up some video files here. And here we have one of Macallan. If let's say I want to go ahead and tag Mac in this, I can go down here to people. Now, you can't tag a region in a video with a specific face, but you can associate a name with a particular video. So I know that Mac is in this video, so here's other people. I can go ahead and hit plus and type in his name. And there he is, Macallan. And now he's tagged and searchable in this video. So when I go to his collection or when I search Macallan, this video is going to go ahead and come up. So that's how I would tag videos. And I've done that with my historical videos too. Like I have a bunch of digitized old family movies. Let me go ahead and scroll down here. I've got them probably a little ways down here. They're in here somewhere. I'd have to go looking for them. But that should get you going. Let's see what else we've got here. Steve, I'm so glad you learned something new. That's always nice to hear. Even if you're coming to these things regularly, there's always some little tidbit that I hope you can take away from this. There's so much to learn with Mylio Photos, lots of different little intricacies, so I'm glad this was helpful. That makes me feel good. What else have we got here? Making sure I didn't miss anything. Lori, are there any other questions that I might have missed in the chat? I think I got everything.
I got everybody.
All right. Are there any other questions before we wrap up for today? Going once. All right. John, I agree. Always find a new nugget. That's great to hear. I love it. All right. Well, just a reminder then, make sure you join Ready, Set, Go if you're new to Mylio Photos. Join us on Tuesdays and Thursdays for live Q&A. So if you didn't have a question today, but you think of something over the weekend, join us on Tuesday or Thursday, or you can always post your questions into the community in the Mylio Photos Quick Questions group. Join us next Friday for Coffee Break. We're going to be talking about doing some of those date adjustments and making sure you have the right metadata on your pictures so they show up properly in the calendar and things like that. And we'll talk about all those different formats that are available and when you should use them. So with that, I want to wish you guys all a wonderful weekend. I hope you guys enjoy the sunshine. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.